We are back. Marion, look at you. It's like I just
Yeah,
saw you.
I just saw you in a different reality. It's like the Matrix.
It is. I always feel like whenever I get lost in these Zoom rooms and whatnot, it's like being on a college campus as a freshman and not knowing if I'm going to the right room or not.
Yeah, I remember those days. I think it was a long time ago for me, but it was good. Welcome back to the
Welcome.
wellness. Welcome back, everyone. The Wellness Summit. We had a little technical difficulty. For those of you who are just joining us, please post in the comments that. And for those of you who were watching on the other one, please tell everybody. Let us know that we can see you. Let us know you can see us. Let us know you're there, and this will be amazing. Um, we had a great speaker in Iona before, and now Meredith. Introduce our next speaker. Let's keep this train
Let's
on the
let's move
track.
in. We're moving and grooving. I love this group and this. Okay, so we have Vinay Raman. Hi, hello. So excited to hear from you. We just had the great pleasure of meeting not too long ago, and I am super excited to hear unlock the hidden superheroes of your company. So Vinay, I am gonna pass this baton over to you, my friend.
Super. Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. This is a topic I believe so profoundly in as being important. Again, the topic of what I'm going to be talking about today is unlocking the hidden superheroes in your company. And I'll start with this first. Emotions, they don't matter in your company because there's proof of that. And that is, someone once said, some great business leaders said, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And you can't measure emotions. They're soft and they're squishy. So you can't improve it. So why even think about it? That's the way I used to think. And what I'd like to do in the next couple of minutes here is take you on a little bit of a journey of sort of where I started there and kind of that thought process that led me to the point where I am today that I believe makes me an incredibly effective leader and why my people love me and they go the extra mile for me on a regular basis. My name is Vinay Raman. I'm the CEO of a company called 𝐴𝐲𝐲𝐻. And I'll tell you, I've got some degrees in math and computer science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, all the data stuff, if you will, all the numbers. But what gets me out of bed every day is people. I love people. You could have 10 different people and ask them to go to the same exact destination, and you'll have 10 different stories, 10 different narratives, and 10 different journeys. And I'm so curious. I love understanding people and how they work. And those 10 people will have different stories to share. And as I started to realize this, and I started to understand the narratives that happen for each individual are different, I also started to realize, wow, there's real power there in being able to unlock that with my neighbors, with my friends, family, kids, spouse. Understanding the emotions and the narratives that go through their head is super powerful for me. And over a couple of years, it took me a long time to figure this all out. That's why all this gray hair is here. I finally figured out how it all comes together, and I'd love to share that with you. First is this idea that people are creatures of habit. Number two is this idea that data that you have in your companies is an indicator of the habits that people exhibit. And the last piece of this, the third piece, is this idea that therefore data is a window into the human soul. And these three sentences in that particular order made all the difference in the world for me. So I want to start with that first one. People are creatures of habit. So I'm an emotional creature. I'll tell you, there have been times in my life where I have regretted what I've said or have done as a result of the emotions. I'm the first to raise my hand. There have been times where I've gotten really angry or upset about a situation, or alternatively, I've gotten really excited and I made some maybe not so effective decisions. So even on the really happy side or on the really angry side. But let me make this point here, is that throughout the course of that process, I'm actually incredibly rational. Rational by my own definition. Other people may not understand it, but I do. It's because the narratives that run in my head make plenty of sense to me, because my logic is personal. How I see the world, how I approach it, makes sense to me all the time. Why I said that when I was angry or really elated was because the narratives that run in my head. Because we're people and we're creatures of habit. We do the same things over and over again based on those habits and those narratives in our head. So as a leader, once I started to realize, hold on a second, they're doing something that makes sense to them, and I'm thinking they should do something else. Marrying those two together, that's magic. That's the first piece. Is how do I align that? How do I get them to see the same vision? How do I get that congruence and alignment in what they're doing in their role so that we achieve the same endpoint and ultimately the same outcomes? That's the first piece. Part two, data as an indicator of the habits. So pretty much every company that I've worked at within the past, or that I continue to work with, even myself today, have lots and lots of data. We have CRM systems, we have HR systems, we've got work order management systems, we've got this. We've got data all over the place. Has anybody else had a spreadsheet that they've downloaded either on a daily, weekly, monthly, whatever basis, and taken a look at that to understand the numbers? I do all the time. But the problem is that spreadsheet doesn't tell me the narratives in my people's head, but it does tell me the history of what has been happening. So I'm going to give you myself as an example here. My name is Vinay Raman. I am Chief Red Button Pusher at a company, at Red Button Pushing Company. And my job is to come in every single day and press that button 10 times. But guess what happened today? I live in North Carolina. We have tornadoes and thunderstorms, thunderstorms that come through here. Thunderstorms coming through or tornadoes coming through. And when I'm dropping my kids off at school, they say, we're opening school late just to be safe. So I'm sitting there in my car with my kid because I don't want them to get out. But I'm worried about what's happening at work and what my boss is thinking and the fact that I'm not going to be able to press the button 10 times a day. The narrative is already starting to run through my head. Same for my boss. But something else, and if you're anything like me, I don't necessarily get the repairs done on my vehicle on time all the time. So my car was hesitating a little bit, and I'm a little worried that the car is not going to be reliable anymore. Another narrative that's layered on. They just start to stack on top of each other. These things color what happens. I eventually get to work, but I also leave work early because of these things that are happening in my life. They affect how I show up on the job. The next day I come into work, my boss says, Vinay, I need you in the office today. I know what's happening. He says, Vinay, look, it's unacceptable to press that button 8 times in a day. I hired you for this role to press it 10 times. You only did it 8. So let's talk about how the data matters here. If you looked at the last, he or she, my supervisor, looked at the last 100 days of my life in that role, I pressed it 10 times every single day. That's the KPI, that's the metric. And it shows that I've had that behavior. I only pressed it 8 times that one day, yesterday. Now, think about this, integrating those two together. There's narratives that are going through my head, narratives that are going through the head of that boss, and they're all just based on our perspective. The history of the data tells you the unbiased objective, what actually happened. And I'm a little worried about going into my boss's office because I'm worried about getting fired now because I only pressed it a couple of times. Now, the boss only looks at KPIs and metrics. That doesn't tell me about the behavior. It doesn't help me understand what's truly happening to my employee because I just look at KPIs. KPIs are one dimension of a human. We need to look at a much broader perspective. Part of what I do is actually help build behavioral graphs for people in all the different dimensions of human because the data shows all of it. Now, as a boss, if I had reached out to my employee and said, hey, yesterday was a little bit of an anomaly. It looked like you struggled a little bit yesterday. Can you tell me what happened? As an employee, I would have loved my boss for approaching it that way and saying, yeah, let me kind of tell you what's happening. The emotions have a release. The emotions have a space there in that conversation, in that relationship. In the other one, where I'm just measuring them based on KPIs, I don't have any space to talk about what is actually happening in my life. And that brings us to this third one, right? Therefore, data is a window into the human soul. If I go to my employees and start to see all the dimensions of what their training competency is, how they're doing in customer service, how they're doing in production, all these different areas, I start to see a much richer picture of who they are. Here's the beautiful thing about this. Companies already have the data within the company. They can read to recruiting and retention, higher productivity, and higher profitability just by understanding the emotions. I'll be in Toucan a little later here. I think I'm getting my cue, but I would love to be able to show you how you can build that pathway yourself. And thank you for the time.
Oh, you were amazing, Vinay. And thank you so much. And by the way, I'm from North Carolina and I live in North Georgia and we deal with the tornadoes too. I love that you use that metaphor. Um, we are working on technical challenges here. I want to thank everyone who jumped from one link to another. If you're new to the broadcast, please let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Also, we will post in the comments in a moment the Toucan link so you can join and connect and engage. One of the things that we are working toward with this summit is to grow our reach, to gain access and connect with a lot of different people. So thank you for being a part of this. Samana, welcome back to the stage.
So many wonderful technical difficulties and challenges, and the wonderful way that we've all come together. Thank you for hanging out with us. Heard about some bots, heard about the link not working. I mean, something had to happen, but I'm so happy that you're still here. Thank you for letting us know about all these different issues that are happening. The live stream's working right now. We're working on just the closed captioning. I had a few people DM me to tell me that we'd love to see that closed captioning, so we're working on that. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm reading some comments here. Who do we have? We have Sirin Tapak. Thank you for letting me know about the bots. We have Josh Grainer, who is going to be one of our speakers. I see Angie Alexander. Hello, Angie. I see Anna Marie Vera. Hello, Kathleen Donahue. Kathleen Donahue says, Sumana, I'm here from Winpro and see I'm here for a mid-year reset and to connect with other like-minded, high-energy entrepreneurs. Kathleen, you are in the right spot to meet the right people. So in the beginning, if you sort of missed my little keynote, I said, hey, you guys, this is an opportunity for you to connect with people, make at least one friend. So make a friend, and this is a great place to make a friend. I met Marion on Clubhouse, and that's how we became friends. We are now friends for life. I don't think he can get rid of me now, Marion.
Yeah, no, not a problem. And we need to pause for a moment, and we have one more little technical glitch, and we'll be right back. We will be right back. Don't go away.
Go have a sip of water.